Salam Sejahtera Malaysia. Welcome to the second episode of the Healthy Rojak Show. We bring a very interesting topic today and looking forward to give you very, very informative and practical tips for this topic that we're going to discuss this day.
Okay, so thank you so much again for joining us on our second episode. I would like to introduce our wonderful guest who's willing to come and talk to us because we went through a lot of people. Nobody wants to come. So Dr. Vani, thank you so much for coming, especially the early morning on a weekend. And that's how we shoot our videos because we also always want to make sure that our guests are ready and available. So thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
So maybe, Dr. Vani, you can just give a brief intro on who you are and what you do.
Okay, hi, I'm Dr. Vani Chandran. My full name is Vani Chandran. I am a general practitioner who's currently specializing in family medicine. I also have an occupational health doctor qualification, and I do have a special interest in child health. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
So I've done a postgrad diploma in child health. My initial medical training was done in New Zealand before coming back home.
Oh, wow.
And
New
then once I
Zealand.
came back home, I was with PPUM for a short stint.
Right.
And then now I'm in my own practice called Panacea Family Clinic. Yeah.
Oh, where is it?
It is in Eco Sky, Jalan Kuching.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll send you guys the link after that.
That's my professional side.
Right.
On a personal front, I'm a mom of two. I have a 2-year-old daughter and
Oh.
a 5-month-old daughter. So I'm very passionate about child health from
Okay.
that sense, because with the personal experience, I think when you're a doctor and you're trying to advise someone, it's a completely different thing. When I did my postgrad dip in child health, I thought I knew everything about child health. Having a
Right.
baby is going to be a breeze. And I had my own, I was like, God, I don't know anything about child health.
Right.
So here we are, sharing a few things this morning.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you.
I think today's topic is something that we discussed about and it's something that a lot of parents need to know
Yes.
out there. So the topic is colic. And I think even as me, I am a father of two as well. And I've also heard that term colic being used and you want to read and you don't know what is the issue. And I feel that there's not a lot of information out there.
Correct.
Right? I mean, there's not a lot of information out there.
I believe we get different types of info from different type of people,
Yeah.
but we'd like to align this information in a very local context.
Yeah.
I think that's the idea.
Yeah. So, Dr. Vani, maybe we can start off with maybe a brief intro on colic. What is colic and what actually causes colic?
Sure. So colic is a very general term that we use in medicine. It can be used for children, for adults. There are different types of colic. But just to be specific, today we are talking about infant colic, colic that happens in newborn babies. Yeah. So what is colic? Generally, colic is this on and off thing that happens in a newborn, where they have these episodes where they scream or they cry, and then they bring their legs up. When they do that, they turn red. Sometimes they pass excessive gas during this episode.
Right.
It goes on mainly in the evenings. It can go on for hours. Parents have no idea why the baby is crying, especially first-time parents. They're like, okay, I've changed the baby's nappy. I fed the baby.
Why is the baby
Is the
crying?
is the baby too warm? Is the baby too cold? Do
Right.
I need to wrap him up in more blanket?
Brings
And
back a lot
then-
of memories, right, doctor?
And some first-time parents get so worried because they're not sure what they're doing. They'll end up taking the baby to the nearest A&E or to their nearest GP, and they say, "Oh no, I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong." And then
Right.
the GP goes, "Oh, don't worry, it's just colic."
Colic.
So
Exactly.
so this is pretty much colic. These on and off episodes that tend to happen more in the evenings to newborns. Can happen anytime from when they're newborn to up to their 4 months old, and they're just screaming and crying, and you're not sure what you're doing. The general idea is that the pain or the discomfort originates from the gut, but there is not enough evidence to support that yet.
Oh.
So we think it may be the gut, but there are now some evidences coming forth where they think this has got something to do with the gut bacteria, where the babies are trying to develop healthy gut bacteria,
Right.
commensal flora, as we call it. So these are just evidence that are emerging, but there's still no clear evidence as to what causes colic.
Okay. So, you were talking about like, as a parent, and I think all of us have gone through, all of us are parents here, so
Yeah.
all of us have gone through this before. You're like, oh, I don't know what's wrong. You go to the doctor, oh, it's okay, doctor. It's okay, it's just colic. It's so like frustrating, you know? Because you're like, no, are you sure it's the colic? You don't really know. But again, like with newborn parents and with colic, like you said, there's not really enough of research being done on the causes. Do you think there should be more research, or do you think there's not enough being done? Because this is something like every newborn
Is
go-
going
go- is
to
going-
going to
yeah,
go through.
yeah.
I'm not sure if there's not enough research being done. I think it's just about the result of the researches that's
okay.
being done. There's
Right.
inconclusive
Inclusive. Okay.
results
Okay.
as to point and say this is
Is
the
cause.
cause of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the bottom line is more research needs to be done in the future for them to say this is the cause of it. But with children, like everything as they are growing up, you cannot put your finger down to one thing and say
Right,
this is it, right? But you are right. That is the biggest challenge. Colic is a benign thing from a medical perspective. It's a benign thing. The child will grow out of it in 4 months' time. But for the parents, it's the most distressing time because, as you can imagine, postpartum is challenging
Yes.
in many ways. The mom is trying to heal.
Correct.
She will have her own wound pain, breastfeeding concerns, and then the dad's trying to figure out his sleep and how he helps the mom, And on top of all of that, you have this screaming baby in the evenings when parents are already generally tired. So we as a society, as families, and as health professionals need to find a way how we can support these parents get through this critical period, that 0 to 4 months. Because what happens is when parents don't cope, that's when non-accidental injuries happen. We call it NAI. So what this means is that when the baby is crying inconsolably, the parents don't know what's happening. Certain parents have the tendency, let's say they are physically or mentally affected in a certain way. Let's say they're having postpartum depression or they come from broken families. They tend to hurt the baby. They tend to shake the baby when the baby is crying. Then the baby will have shaken baby syndrome, or they might hold the baby tight and break their bones or ribs. So these are non-accidental injuries. These are the other end of the spectrum that we want to try and avoid. Prevent.
Of course.
Have you come across this kind of?
Yes, definitely. When I was in the working in the hospital and doing child health, we definitely come across these cases where parents are not sure how to cope with this crying child and they end up harming the baby.
Okay. Maybe we move on to the next topic, which is myths and misconceptions about colic. Maybe you can go through a few, Doctor.
Sure. So what some of the few that I've heard in the past, especially we come from a very Asian background, where our postpartum period is generally we are looked after by our grandmothers or our grand aunties, or you generally will have some auntie in the neighborhood or a grandma in the neighborhood. So when the child is crying, some of the things that they might say is that, hey, the baby does not have enough milk. You are not producing enough milk, so add formula for the baby. That is one thing. So the mother gets put a stress on her that she's not producing enough breast milk or not feeding the baby enough. Secondly, they'll say things like, baby needs water. Give the baby water. Third thing they'll say, generally it's related to tummy discomfort. So they'll say things like, you need to give the baby gripe water or a certain traditional water in order to relieve the gas discomfort. It's all gas. These are some of the myths that I've heard. I'm not sure what you guys have heard.
I know about
as
gripe
parents.
water because when I was born, I remember my mom saying that, if anything, we give you gripe water. And then at that point in time, gripe water was, I think they had a small amount of alcohol in at that point in time. But when my son was born, I think we got it, but we rarely used it in that sense. I'm not sure about it.
No, we didn't have. We read proper. Okay, it's like colic. You do you like I think gas. I think they were telling us for colic you have to do like a massage or something.
Correct.
You have
We'll
to
get
move
to
their
that.
legs.
Yeah.
And so we did that for us.
Yeah.
But gripe water is. I've heard this so much, and obviously it doesn't work, right?
It's not just gripe water. It's gripe water, sugar water, herbal water.
Nothing works.
There's all types of
Yeah,
water.
yeah.
So gripe water, there's been a lot of this debate if in colic it works or it doesn't work. There's no clear evidence that gripe water works. Some people swear by it. Some people generally avoid it. So as far as doctors are concerned from a medical point of view, we say what the child needs in the first 6 months is exclusive breast milk and nothing else. So when we come to what you can give to soothe the colic for children, we will talk about that shortly. Apart from gripe water, what other parents have tried. Some parents get so desperate that they just try anything. You know?
Because
In
at that
that
point
sense,
in time, we understand, no sleep, you're going so much of stress, the baby is crying.
I think we are all just trying to find that balance, to adapt to that new born.
Correct.
That in itself
Yeah,
is a...
because that's why if somebody says like, oh, this will solve all your problems, you're going to take it, you're going to use it. And even
Correct.
though it doesn't, and even though the baby like kind of gets better, you're like, oh, okay, this works.
Yeah.
But
Right.
actually it might not.
So may I ask it with you guys, how did you all handle your baby?
Oh, she's asking the questions.
Oh.
Yes.
That's interesting. I mean, like for me, when my son was born, he was on breast milk for 2 years straight, and on the second year by himself,
Oh, that's excellent.
yeah. So, he colic might have had a few times, but like I said, we had the gripe water, but I did a few times also. Wasn't sure whether that was working or the milk was working, but something was working, and yeah, I mean, you don't know till you
Yeah.
try,
Okay.
and then you've got your parents, you've got your grandparents who are also going to come and give you these words of wisdom. And in Tamil we say party vaidiyam.
Party vaidiyam,
Yeah,
yes.
so
Yeah.
so we try to apply all this, and what works best was to feed him.
Feed.
Yeah.
So you
That's
felt
what
the
we
feeding
That's
helped.
what we did. Yeah.
Okay. And Dishan spoke about massages.
Yeah, so for me, my wife is the type of person, she goes online and reads a lot of things. And we had a very, I don't know whether this unconventional way of the confinement center. We went to a confinement center and we actually stayed there for the first month. So we actually had a lot of help from the nurses who came with us and told us like, okay, this is Is Colic. We can do the massages. And so we had that information. And for my first born, my son, he had a bit of colic. But for my second one, we have not had any issue. She's 7 months now, my daughter. So far, touch wood, nothing. But again, it's about, there was a lot of advice as well. And as parents, I think we can segue into the next topic, which is as modern parents, you have a lot of information coming at that point in time. And I felt like for us, we were in the confinement center and we trusted what the medical professionals said. They are professionals, they know how to handle this. And they were very, very chill. And I think that vibe came to us where it was, we just need to relax, we need to focus. And the first month is always focused on the mom. The mom has to heal from whatever, because it's quite traumatic, what happened. So for us, I think that mentality of it's okay, listen to the medical professionals. If you're not sure, ask and get advice, but from the right people, because everybody will have an opinion and everybody will give an advice. So we kind of were like, no, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to, and how we're going to take care, and things like that.
I think that's a really good perspective to take as new parents, knowing where to find the right information and just taking a step back, relaxing and trusting the right people with it. And, I think Dishan said earlier, daughter's 7 months, hopefully, I don't experience colic after this. So generally, babies tend to grow out of their colic by 4 months. So once you're the 4 month space, you're pretty safe. Unless they're having other health issues like reflux, that can go on till they're about 1 year old or longer. Any other abdominal issues. So so this is a very important topic. When should parents be concerned that it's not just colic? When should I be seeking more help? Yeah. But before we talk about when they should be more concerned, I think let's talk a little bit about how they can manage colic at home in the first place. But I found very interesting, Dishan said that he chose a confinement center for your. So I think this is a separate episode all by itself. You guys should certainly
Next episode,
talk
episode.
about
Coming
this
soon.
one.
Be locked on.
What are your options for confinement period? But yeah, when you've recognized that this is colic, the first step is recognizing that this is colic. Your baby is crying inconsolably. In the evenings, the episode goes on anywhere from minutes to hours. Generally, only after about 3 hours. Okay, you fed the baby is clean, the baby is warm, but you're not sure. Then it's likely to be colic. Okay, once you've recognized, okay, this is colic, you can take a step back and know that this is going to settle. Right. This is going to be okay. Because I think the real struggle is not being able to recognize the fact that this is colic and know that this is going to be okay. Right? Once you know it's colic, okay, what do I do next? So next thing, making sure the baby's well fed. So you say feeding the baby helps. In terms of feeding also, when they are bottle fed or even breastfed, just the stream or the volume of the milk and the speed of the milk choosing the right, putting for the bottle, the right flow. I didn't know there was 0-month flow, 1-month flow, 2-month flow till my baby was born. So the speed at which they drink the formula, if they are gulping down the formula too quickly and they are swallowing a lot of gas as well, that can increase their flatulence and make their tummy really uncomfortable, and they can be uncomfortable from that. So choosing the right bottle tea, choosing anti-colic bottles can help reduce colic as well.
Oh, there are anti-colic
There are
bottles. What are the
anti-colic
difference
bottles
between?
available in the market. So what happens is when you tilt the bottle and when you feed the baby, in anti-colic bottles, the air tends to get trapped on top of the bottle, so the baby swallows less air. So these are some small things that you can do to help with the flatulence side of things. Secondly, starting the child on a bit of probiotics early on itself. So with my second baby, I started her as soon as she was born on probiotic drops. Yeah,
Pretty young. I mean, we can
yes,
do that.
you can start them on straight away.
Oh.
There are a lot of evidences behind this, starting probiotics early in newborn. So the probiotics that I chose was BioGaia, not to drop any brand names down here, but just what's available in the market so that you can go and ask and pick it up. Yeah. So you can start this as soon as they're born, just 5 drops in the morning. I found a huge difference personally in my baby once I started probiotics. So the science behind this is that now there are emerging signs that gut health is, gut health importance. Yeah.
Pivotal.
So when do we start growing commensal bacteria in our guts is from a newborn phase. Yeah. So as you know, as we age, this gut health has got a lot of consequences on whether we develop autoimmune diseases or not, whether we develop certain diseases or not now. So we want to try and develop healthy bacteria in newborn guts. Yeah. And this in turn reduces colic in the newborn period as well. So this is where the probiotics come into play. So they can start their children on probiotics early on itself. Yeah. Another thing are massages. Massages are quite key. So when a child is having colic, just lie them down, dim lights. You can play some, white noise in the background. White noise really helps. I swear by noise. Noise. And you can just turn on YouTube, Google white noise, and there's 4 or 5 hours of white noise available.
My son used to sleep with that water, that water filter. Those days you had the sound of that. Water itself.
Yeah.
He used to just.
It works. It works magic, right? Yeah. So put them in the background of white noise and just do simple exercises. Basically, just a cycling exercise of the leg will help. Yeah. In traditional Asian way, they use UE oil. I don't know you all heard of UE oil. It's like this red. It's pretty much just a warm oil.
Okay.
That they just do a very simple circular massage on the tummy, and generally just simple gentle circular massage during colic also helps with the baby's flatulence. Yeah.
Okay.
That we used to use.
Soothing the baby by rocking them to sleep. Do not shake them ever. A lot of parents don't know this, or grandparents generally they tend to play with babies. They'll shake the baby or throw the baby up in the air and all of that. But babies, they have very small brain compared to their skull. So when they shake the baby, the brain tends to get injured against the skull. So they can get complications from that. Right. So newborn, handle with care. Do not shake them. Do not throw them up in the air. Just hold them, rock them during colic periods. So these are some tips to how you can settle colic. If you are worried this is not colic, the baby is not feeding well, baby is throwing up often or has an abnormal stool, the baby is not thriving in the sense not putting on weight. So these are warning signs that you need to take them to your doctors and get checked if there's something else going on besides a colic. Some of the common things that may be going on besides colic is reflux. And some children might have cow's milk allergy as well. So cow's milk intolerance. So they might take, and every time they take, formula, they might purge or have abdominal discomfort. So maybe they have cow's milk intolerance, and your pediatrician can help diagnose this.
Okay. So thank you for a lot of information. So please write down everything.
This is a quick
I'm rewatching this after this to get more information. But so we talked about colic and what maybe we can get into the whole, from your perspective, doctor, on parents who come to you and have all these issues. What is the type of mentality that they need to have, because we talked about the opinions coming here and there and everything, and then maybe we will move on to what can parents do at that point in time? How can they kind of calm themselves down, and what are the types of things that they can do to try to handle the baby? And maybe we can then summarize the whole thing and just go through the list of what they can do in point.
So firstly, when parents come to see me, obviously they're very distressed. Especially they've got all these inputs coming on from around them, and they're not sure. They're like, sometimes parents know what's the right thing to do. Like they shouldn't say, I know this is, but then I'm getting these external influences.
Yeah.
I think my advice to them, firstly, I'll just reassure them. If this is colic, reassure them this is infant colic. It's going to get better. You only have to put up with it till 4 months, but it is your baby. So you have to put your feet down and do what's right for your baby. Usually I try and get both mum and dads on the same page first. Both, because sometimes the mum will have a different idea and the dad will have a different idea. That's where the conflict arises.
Correct.
So getting the parents, the mum and dad, and the immediate carer on the same page is important. Next step is educating their carers. So these are grandmothers or grand-aunties or grandparents, right? So educating them. Sometimes it's just a very simple 5-minute conversation. This is colic. I know back in your time it was handled very differently, but now we know there are these evidences. This is what colic is, and this is how you manage colic. So once they have that family support or family unit support, then the management of colic gets much better. How parents can come, or how during an episode of colic, when you're very stressed out, lack of sleep, how you can help each other, just recognizing that it's colic and supporting each other, giving the mom a bit of break, dad carrying the baby, or if both are really stressed and they can't handle, just passing the baby to someone else, like a grandmother or a carer, to help in the meantime. Filling your cup first, because I always believe in having your cup full first before you can look after someone else, whether that's a baby or someone else. So fill in your cup first. Don't feel guilty that you're giving your baby away half an hour for a rest. You don't have to feel guilty about that. Take the rest you need, so just calming yourself down in that sense helps. Talking to other parents who've gone through colic and who
like a
are
support
going
group.
to, yes, definitely. So I found that very helpful. Talking to a cousin of mine reached out and she said, hey, look, you are not, don't feel guilty about it. You're not the only one going through colic. My babies had very bad colic and this is what I went through. So talking to someone who went through similar experience helps.
I think it's very important that you said that don't feel guilty. That naturally comes onto us as parents sometimes. We tend to want to do to relieve the child, but like you said, if we don't fill our cup, we can't fill on any love on anyone else. Very pivotal.
I think parents always want to do what's best, and always like the firstborns, like you said, suddenly you have this little person that you need to be responsible for.
Correct.
You want to do everything that you can to make sure that, but sometimes like taking a step back is actually really, really important, especially, so that's why the husband and wife needs to kind of work as a team, and the mother can take a break and the dad take over, and then the dad take a break, the mom take over. I think working together is very important.
And another thing I realize, modern parents, they're a bit reluctant to get help from family, and they want to do it all on their own sometimes. But support is the key, especially to reduce risk of postpartum depression and reduce risk of complications. I think it's okay to ask for help. That's one. Having a really good pediatrician or a general practitioner's number on your phone and someone you're comfortable with and can reach out any minute, this is also key. So find a good doctor. People are very reluctant to go to clinics as well, especially because of COVID. They scared, is my baby going to catch COVID? Am I going to catch COVID? But with the right precautions in place, and if you're vaccinated, the risk of it is low now. So get yourself a good pediatrician or a good general practitioner and have a good relationship with them, because it's not a one-off thing. Your child is going to keep growing. You're going to have a lot of questions. So you can just reach out to them anyway.
Okay.
Yep.
So maybe, doctor, very quickly maybe you can list down on the types of things that parents can do when a child, let's say, is screaming uncontrollable. We can do it like a point form thing.
Sure.
Maybe you can just go through it very quickly.
Sure. So what can you do when your baby has colic, or you think your baby is having colic, or you've recognized it? Firstly, make sure the baby is comfortable, well fed, has been changed, is warm. Okay. Next thing, you can do gentle exercises. So cycling exercises on the leg, gentle tummy exercises. Put on a white noise in the background, soothe the baby down, calm the baby. Gentle rocking will do, up and down motion of rocking or sideways rocking. The other thing you can do is start them on probiotics very early on as well. As soon as they're born, you can start them on a bit of probiotics. Manage your feeding well. So if you're breastfeeding, make sure your flow is okay. If you have issues with breastfeeding, get help from a lactation consultant. If it's cow's milk, see how your child is tolerating the cow's milk. If you think they may have reflux or cow's milk issues, see a pediatrician. Okay. And at the end of the day, take good care of yourselves.
Right. Thank you so much. Final thoughts from you, Edwin?
Well, I believe that what we feel, like what doctor said, is to take two steps back, look at the situation, and I mean, as parents, we would have the wisdom to act, and the wisdom is important because information is going to be many, but to identify what the need is at that point in time is only by resting. So, like doctor said, is for parents to rest as well, so that is why we do the trial. Yeah, it was very very informative. I think we have known this, but we don't act many a time. We try to take things into our own hands, but to seek help, I think that's also something we should learn, to seek help, and I think people will be willing, especially our family, our support system. So yeah, good.
Your final thoughts, Doctor, maybe the last piece of advice you can give parents out there watching this right now, all our viewers who are watching this right now and have a newborn and have all these tough nights where it's screaming and uncontrollable. What is your thoughts and your advice to them?
I think my simple few words for young parents or first time parents, it's all in our mindset. What mindset we step into the whole from the initial pregnancy period itself. So try and get into this sort of positive mindset that my pregnancy is going to go okay, my labor is going to go okay, my postpartum period is going to go fine. Because if we carry a lot of anxiety with us into this journey, that's when it starts to get very troublesome, whether it's labor or the postpartum journey. So firstly, it's the mindset that you go in with. Have a positive mindset. Surround yourself with good, happy success stories rather than the failure stories or the nightmare stories. And secondly, just surround yourself with good support system. And I think these are the keys to having a positive postpartum outcome.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Vani.
Dr. Vani.
Yeah. So
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So this is a very interesting topic. I hope you enjoyed this episode on colic. We'll be coming more. We'll be talking to Dr. Vani also on different topics as well on the Healthy Roja. So please like and follow and subscribe to our social media platforms. Edwin?
Thank you. I do hope that you would spread the word, because the idea is for the Healthy Roja to journey with you in health and wellness, to give you that insight that you need from a very local perspective, a Malaysian perspective. We are here in Malaysia. It's a beautiful country. We've got beautiful people with like Dr. Wani, who's got such good advice. So the idea is to help one another, pick a friend up. I just hope love will surround you, joy will fill you, and peace will reign in your hearts.
All right.
Good.
Thank you so much. We will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.